What's up, everybody? This is your boy Uber Hikari, aka the Nerd Nigga, here to bring you another video with no frills, just the analysis. And today I'm here to bring you day 11 of the 12 days of anime. And you know I had to talk about 20th Century Boys. You know I had to talk about 20th Century Boys. Actually, this is one of my favorite mangas of all time. And in fact, I like 20th Century Boys even more than I like Monster, even though I think Monster's probably better, but still, 20th Century Boys rocks. So, if you don't know, 20th Century Boys was written and illustrated by Naoki Urasawa, who, as I alluded to earlier, is also the mangaka of Monster. And it's definitely 20th Century Boys is definitely in the top 10 in terms of seinen manga, quite possibly top 5, but its inferior ending probably puts it in top 10 rather than strictly top 5. But I will say this, the complexity of the plot is probably even better than the complexity of Monster's plot, and that's saying something considering how complex the plot of Monster is. So, a synopsis. Basically, 20th Century Boys is about a group of kids who are friends, and they all went to the same middle school, and eventually they have to reunite later on in their lives in order to defeat a cult that has pretty much taken over the world. And this cult is actually pretty crazy. I mean, it's not just your regular cult. They managed to kill off a significant portion of the population. I won't spoil anything for you, but a lot of people actually die in this manga. It's not gory and bloody, but they do die. And the twist of the story is that somehow the leader of the cult is connected to this group of friends, and it's sort of implied throughout the story that the group of friends knows them, and that this person might have actually been a part of that group of friends, but nobody can remember who this kid was. And the kid grows up. When he grows up, he calls himself Friend, which is obviously an allusion to being a friend of some sort, being a part of this group of friends. But like I said, nobody can remember who this guy is. All they can remember is that he might have been their friend in the same middle school that they went to. And so the entire story is the mystery surrounding who this guy named Friend is and what his objectives are. So the moment I want to talk about in this manga. So this manga deals a lot with the power of music, and it works. It does a very good job of establishing a deep connection between politics, human nature, and music. And frequently the main protagonist, Kenji, who later on in the story goes by Yabuki Joe, the main protagonist uses music on a number of occasions to actually fight against people or to disarm people. So there'll be situations where people are pointing guns at him, but Yabuki Joe will start to play music, and these people will just literally, not literally, but they'll melt. They'll become just tearful at the music that he plays, and they'll be disarmed in this fashion. So after a time skip that happens in the manga, the protagonist has sort of disappeared from the story for a number of years, and then he reappears, and he reappears having the ability to use music in this mysterious way to disarm people. And when I saw his reappearance in the manga after the time skip, it literally gave me chills. The first time I read this, literally gave me chills. First of all, Naoki Urasawa likes to use tropes from a variety of different genres. And one of the tropes that he uses in this manga to produce this moment I'm going to talk about is the trope of heroic fantasy. And a basic motif of heroic fantasy is where the hero goes into isolation for a set amount of time in order to study and meditate and train. And when they reappear as a powerful magician or a powerful wizard, which is sort of how Ibuki Joe's reappearance is is described in the manga. And the second thing is that Naoki Urasawa has a great knowledge about the world and about international relations and politics. And he has a deep understanding of the folklore of a variety of different places all over the world. And one of the things that he knows or understands very well is the mythology surrounding blues music, especially blues music in the deep south of America, and how blues music came to be. And what he does, which I find just to be incredibly amazing, is he's actually able to use Robert Johnson, the myth surrounding Robert Johnson, who was a landmark blues musician, and he's able to use the myth of the legend of the devil, which is sort of the myth of how Robert Johnson became a genius at blues music, and he's able to adapt it to his manga and the myth surrounding Yabuki Joe. So for those of you who are not really familiar with blues music and Robert Johnson, I'll just go to Wikipedia right quick and read the legend of surrounding Robert Johnson, who's a very famous blues musician. So this is how it goes. According to legend, as a young man living on a plantation in rural Mississippi, Robert Johnson was branded with a burning desire to become a great blues musician. He was instructed to take his guitar to a crossroad near Dockery Plantation at midnight. There he was met by a large black man, presumably the devil, who took the guitar and tuned it. The devil played a few songs and then returned the guitar to Johnson, giving him mastery of the instrument. This was, in effect, a deal with the devil, mirroring the legend of Faust. In exchange for his soul, Robert Johnson was able to create the blues music for which he became famous. And there's a lot of variations to this legend, but that's essentially how the legend goes. And Naoki Urasawa is able to flip this symbolism and uses the devil as a symbol for transgressive freedom. In other words, he uses the devil in this moment with the appearance of Yabuki Joe as a symbol of a person who doesn't conform and who becomes free because of their nonconformity. Because, like I said, this manga deals with a cult who tries to take over the world. And Yabuki Joe is a person who uses music to try and resist the conformity of the cult that's trying to take over the world. And the way Naoki Urasawa combines that legend of the devil surrounding Robert Johnson and then adapts it for Yabuki Joe in this manga, and the philosophical statement that he made by adapting that legend was that's some of the best writing I've ever seen. Like I said, this literally gave me chills. One of the best moments in manga I've ever read. And you can clearly see why Junot Diaz, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning author from America who wrote The Brief and Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, described Naoki Urasawa as just an absolute national literary treasure for Japan. So that's it for this video. I'll be talking about Vagabond on the 12th and final day of anime tomorrow. So this was your boy Uber Hikari, aka the Nerd Nigga. Just brought you another video with no frills, just the analysis. Peace and have a blessed day.